Following our non-technical friendly discussion on GIS, we lastly talk about the raster layer and vector layer. And today I'm gonna just show by some illustration how this technology can be used for a very specific domain called remote sensing. So specifically, which is quite very common, we use satellites. So as you can see in the picture, this is supposedly an artificial image showing the Landsat that watching the Earth receiving so many lights from different bands, visible, non-visible image bands. And so they might be infrared, they might be ultraviolet, so and they can be transferred and compiled. We call them indices. So each index can help us to contribute and help and show something specifically, watching where we have the flood happened, the fires, watching the Earth around, and this is called Earth observation, as I said in the previous session. And watch how each part of the Earth is gonna change and compare them in different seasons, different regions, after or before the flash floods, inundations, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's go to what I have created using a Python code thanks to the Google Earth, Landgate, and USGS, all these, and very other kind people who led us to this happen, and also of course the European agencies and New South Wales department. So I will let you know that in which part they have do the contribution. And they are all freely available, so you can use them for your purpose as well. So this is like Australia, where I live, and in Sydney, for example, this is absolutely a synthetic. So we call this layer as well, as a raster, and the other lines, points, polygons, areas, all these that you can see, geometries, they are supposed to be in different layers which are overlaid on each other. But here I have them all in one layer, which is behind all of this. So talking about the remote sensing, you see this. It takes sometimes to load. Ta-da! Yeah, I just chose this part to be shown. So where is this Sydney area? Yeah, you're just talking about here. So this is called normalized NDVI, normalized difference vegetation index. So this is part of the GIS job. We try to map heat maps. Given we are watching this in a two-dimensional, we can see where we have something more intense and where it is less. So the more, for example, here we have vegetation. It's a combination of a formula for combining the red band, which is visible, and infrared, near infrared bands, and which goes based on where the more chlorophyll or healthy vegetation is. I will explain them. No buzzword in this. Okay, it is absolutely non-technical friendly. So the greener the area, obviously, is you have more vegetation. So the red area doesn't mean they are hot. This is the water. So if you would like for water, you may go for the shortwave infrared or those kind of indices. And this happens all in July. And what about the January? I need to hide the July. Oh, there are more vegetation in January. Why? Because in South Hemisphere, specifically in Sydney that I'm talking about, January is the middle of the summer. So many things are green, whereas in July, they are all in winter, they're in the middle of winter, so we have less greenery. So many vegetation has died, and as long as they are not green, in practice, like green leaves are mostly shown here, or grass. So they are shown less green. So they go to the yellow or the red area. So, but this is not the main purpose of today. This is what I'm talking about. This is called, it takes some time to load. I do apologize for the delay. It's like a massive file, and this is another problem. So, by the way, I need to apologize about the sliders. Now you can use this slider and the temperature on the temperature category legend on the button left, right, and left. So I mapped it in such a way that you can see the water in blue, or the less hot area in blue, and the hotter area goes to the yellow and orange and red. So red and black shows the hotter the area. And this sort of job is done for the airband heat monitoring. So in short, what is airband heat? We believe that the human can interact and intervene and make some impacts on the environment. So where you have industries, the residential areas, car parks, shopping centers, so on and so forth, they can contribute shining some heat or radiating some heat to the atmosphere and create hotter area, and they take some time, like at night, to cool down. And once we call them heat bubble, comparing to the suburban, remote, rural, for like farm lands, farm croplands around it, or even the bare grounds potentially naturally built with some grass or whatever. So once for example, the clouds come over and try to pass, they expand over this heat bubble, and they make potentially some downward stream, and then you have you can change the inundation, so you may have more precipitation over there. Another beautiful thing that I would like to show, and by the way, this is the product of the Landsat 8 and 9. So we can explain all of this later in more technical video. So you can see like the too cool area. So this slider on the left helps me to see behind it. Once we go to the absolutely no, I don't know why it is not working that good. Anyway, to what's up behind it. It takes some time to load. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. It's all about like the rendering. So you see like this part, which might be a bare ground, and by the way, this is not. There are some changes. So I'm comparing this, and I'm trying to showcasing to you. But most likely, this type of building or urban area radiates less compared to this one. And that's the reason why we are trying to work on the roof types, polycarbonates, how like they can radiate the heat into the atmosphere and contribute those kind of heat bubbles or airband heat islands. We call them airband heat islands, UHIs. So you see like from the legend on the bottom right that this area is around like 22 degrees Celsius. Whereas this part is close to above 50 and maybe 60. So we need to find what's going on. And the other problem that you see, it's not it's too granular and not have enough resolution, is that this Landsat, because I'm just accessing like the free satellites, and Landsat turns around the Earth, I think every 6 or 8 days. And the pixel for thermal band that I've used is only, it's actually 100 meters by 100, so it's 1 acre, but we could downsample it to 30 by 30, so 900 meter cube. And so it's not, might not be as good. And this is, by the way, the January. And if you need the code, you may just leave a comment and your email in the comments, and I will share the code with you. It's like not a big deal. So what about like the July in Sydney? So let's go here. I made it like HTML friendly, and you would see like this here. Absolutely not ideal, right? We don't like it that way. Why? Because we have some clouds, and this is the average of a month in my code. I'm going to share the Python code. This is the Python code based on the Google Colab, and you can do it like absolutely the same way. So let's go like and find like what's going on. So I tried to, for example, this is the January in 2023, and the image behind it is from the New South Wales department, and might not be the same time, let alone that I just took the average. So the clouds interfere, right? So that's the problem. So we have so much clouds in here. So I tried to filter, and for the filter, as you see, like I got it, okay, whatever images for between these two. So if the Landsat, like we may assume like if it passes every 6 days, so it will be 4 to 5 times, for example, 4 times. If it is like 8 days, maybe 3 times in 1 month. So the ones that have the less than 10% cloud will be included, and we take the average later on, we take the mean out of this. So sorry. So we need something that has less. So I changed that filter value to 3, and this is what happened. Let me check if NDVI, yeah, are off. So why? Because, as I said, my code couldn't find less clouds in the Landsat thermal image, and there are so many clouds. And you may also ask like why it is like we see the ties here neatly vertical and horizontally, and here they're little tilted. And this is the reason why it is. If you go to Firewatch Pro, created by the Landgate, Department of Land Information in Western Australia public sector, you see how these ties are made. So for example, in Sydney, we have, this is the Landsat, by the way, you should go there and then find the Landsat and so on. So here you see these tiles, how they overlap. So we need the contribution of 4 maybe of them. So this is the path and the row. If I just zoom out, you can see the row number as well. So what we can do, we can go and like this is the USGS Earth Explorer. There are so many features. I do recommend to go there and watch it. So you can go to the polygon, choose your whatever you like, and then they're freely available and have your map or whatever. So once I did tile, you see the clouds here. And then this is this is of course like when it goes to a thermal, it has only 1 layer, unlike the RGB mappings. So what we can do, this Landsat or Sentinel are the passive satellites. So their sensors just receive all the emissions from Earth. But while we can send microwaves and receive them back, they can penetrate like clouds without interference. This is called synthetic aperture radar, or in short SAR. For example, one of the interference here is like you see -5 here, but I'm pretty much sure that we barely have during the day -5 in Sydney, or practically never. So this is another interference because you see them like on the cloud, whereas here you see in the SAR it just starts from 5 and more coming closer to what we practice. So do we see any heat bubble or something here? We can go around and watch it. This is super beautiful, and I think you will also enjoy that as I do. I'm like not very long to this journey, but the more you go and dive, the more you like it. And another problem is the resolution. So as long as you are working on the freely available ones, you may not get the very accurate and high resolution results. Nevertheless, I do recommend like to go and find them. So the code is pretty much available here. Yeah, I disconnected. I tried to record the video and it took me like a while. And this is pretty much like the same. I did the mapping and then access the data from New South Wales, for example. Here you can do the same thing and then do the legends and so on and so forth. The same thing. I try to find like how much cloud percentage, for example, they are in the Landsat. I downloaded like the pictures, and the Google also helps like to create that one. Thanks for watching.